from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to the news live from the National News Studios. And with me tonight on the bulletin is Charitha Minipura Arachi and I'm Sharifa Tahir. First off, let's take a look at the top stories.
Questions linger on the reduction of bread price by next week. Blockings on rubber imports exceeding the limit. Incentives for the migrant workers to import electric vehicles. A committee for the continuous supply of essential food and medicine. Bail granted for the 9 persons who surrendered over the Yala incident. 7 vehicles involved in the incident taken over by the courts. A 3-member committee to probe the incident. The Prime Minister says participation of the places of religious worship in the village is important in the drive to make Sri Lanka self-sufficient in food. Britain's new Prime Minister faces the Parliament for the first time amidst heated arguments. On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story. Local wheat flour companies have informed the Minister of Trade that they have unable to reduce the price of wheat flour at the moment. This was disclosed at a meeting between representatives of the companies and Minister Nalin Fernando this afternoon. In addition to wheat flour company representatives, members of the Bakery Owners Association have attended the discussion. The All Ceylon Bakery Owners Association says at present bakery owners are compelled to purchase a kilo of wheat flour at a price between 280 and 290 rupees. Bakery owners mostly purchase wheat flour from leading companies in the country. Positive responses were not reported to have been made by the bakery owners to the Prime Minister's request for a price reduction. President of the All Ceylon Bakery Owners Association, M.K. Javardhana, said that they have reduced a pledge from the companies to import large stocks of wheat flour in the days ahead.
A committee appointed to look into the state of rubber in Sri Lanka says that the main reason for the rubber price lying at a lower level is the unrestricted importation of rubber. Report of the committee was handed over to the State Minister of Finance, Ranjit Siyambalapitiya, today. The report has presented several short and medium-term recommendations to safeguard local rubber cultivations. The committee has recommended to impose restrictions on the importation of types of rubber other than those varieties not manufactured in the country. The committee has also made recommendations for the weekly reporting to the Ministry of Plantation Industries on the permits or other forms of permissions issued by the Board of Investment for the importation of rubber for rubber factories. The need to prepare a conducive index for the provision of a better price for local rubber will have to be formulated in comparison to the prices of rubber in the world market. Another recommendation is to appoint a special officer by the Department of Rubber Development for the purposes of regular exchange of data pertaining to current local rubber prices and production with the relevant institutions. The stipulated institutions are required to conduct weekly progress evaluations and also monthly progress evaluations with the ministry. The committee has also recommended to take necessary measures for the recommencement of the technical rubber manufacturing as conducted previously. As a measure to encourage expatriate foreign workers to remit more foreign exchange to the country, these migrant employees have been accorded the opportunity to import an electric vehicle of CFI value up to 50%.
The Cabinet has granted approval to a proposal submitted in this regard by Minister Manusha Nanayakara. When migrant workers make remittances on the income they earn via the bank system, they are entitled to import a two-wheeler electric vehicle subjected to maximum of $25,000. The period of validation in this respect is until the 30th of April 2023 from the date of submitting an application for the importation of a vehicle. Accordingly, the workers are permitted to import an electric vehicle of 2 wheels up to CIF value of 50%. In addition, permission is also been granted for the importation of a 4-wheel electric vehicle of CIF value up to 50% of remittances made from the 1st of May 2022 to 31st of December 2023. However, the value of the vehicle is subjected to a maximum of $65,000 million. The Central Bank and the Ministry of Finance are extending this privilege to the Sri Lankan expatriate workers. Cabinet approval has been granted for the relevant revision charges in purchasing electricity from approved solar power stations. The proposal has been presented by Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara. A committee has been appointed to present recommendations for the price revisions in purchasing electricity. The relevant amendments of charges are being carried out accordingly to the recommendations. Previous cabinet has granted approval to fix a charge of 22 rupees for a solar cell of capacity of less than 500 megawatts and to revise the existing charge of 58 rupees and 50 cents to 37 rupees for a solar cell exceeding the capacity of 500 megawatts. The solar panels on roofs have already generated 580 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. Accordingly to a long-term plan of the Ceylon Electricity Board, a further capacity of 1,800 megawatts are to be added to the national grid. The price revision are being made as a form of incentives in this regard. The Cabinet has also granted approval to extend the period of validation for the repayment of a debt obtained from Japan International Cooperation Agency for a project to enhance national reception and distribution of network development and efficiency. Minister Nimal Siripal de Silva's proposal to sign a bilateral airline agreement between Sri Lanka and Netherlands have also received cabinet approval.
The Cabinet has taken measures to appoint a special committee for the continuous maintenance of an essential food and medicine supply chain. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that the President has given a special permit to the Health Minister to import medicine under the Indian credit line. Minister Gunawardena also said that foreign debt restructuring process has been continuously implemented. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that if we take sovereign bonds, it would take long time to repay. Therefore, the debt restructuring process will have to be carried out in a careful manner. The National Transport Commission Council revised draft bill is scheduled to be presented to Parliament without delay. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that the National Commission is entrusted with the responsibilities of regulating all three-wheelers, vans and buses. It has also been reiterated at the media discussion that there are no plans to sell the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that they will never sell the national television. He said that they have decided to reform all loss-making institutions. He also said that they have no dealings with the private sector.
9 persons who have surrendered themselves to the Department of Wildlife over unlawful behavior at the Yala National Wildlife Park were released on bail of 500,000 rupees each. The Tissa Maharama Magistrate Court has delivered the order where the visitors to the park along with the 7 of their vehicles were produced before the magistrate today. Tissa Maharama Magistrate Tarindu Samira Silva, upon releasing the suspects on bail, has also ordered to place the 7 vehicles under the custody of the judiciary. It has reported that a group of 80 persons have entered the National Wildlife Park in 35 vehicles last Saturday afternoon. Curator of the Yala National Wildlife Park, Manoj Vidyaratna, said that 5 tour guides have accompanied the group. The unruly persons have been arrested by the wildlife conservation officials and produced before the court. Video scenes of the group loitering in the park breaching the park laws have been recorded in social media as well. Environmentalists have accused wildlife guide and voluntary workers for not taking adequate measures to control the visitors. The department has also stated that the vehicles which violate the laws have been banned from entering the wildlife parks for a period of 3 years. Director of the General of the Wildlife says that 3 ever any other wildlife officials other than the 7 officials of whom disciplinary action was taken, law will be enforced against them as well. Meanwhile, Secretary to the Ministry of Wildlife and Wildlife Resources Conservation, Ms. Chandra Herath, says that a 3-member committee will be appointed for conducting further investigations and to ascertain as to why the officials had misappropriated their duties and not informing the incident to the high officials. A group of environmental conservationists have arrived at the department and met the Director General and Head of the Legal Division to inquire into the incident at the Yala National Wildlife Park. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that joining of the village temple and other places of religious worship with the national program to make the country self-sufficient on food is important.
He has made these remarks participating in several rural economic revival and food security programs today. The programs have been organised at the Ketumati in Madivala and also at the Sri Saddharma Ramavihara in Polvata. The Prime Minister has also inquired into the progress of the economic rejuvenation and food security programs currently being implemented on the rural level. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that they have unleashed the national program enabling village, temple and other places of religious worship to cultivate every inch of cultivable land in the country.
And meanwhile, today's BIS Focus column focuses attention on the opening of the 500th Kargil's Food City branch. The branch opened today is located at number 93 Kuregutta Road, Battaramulla. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, was the chief guest of the occasion. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, said that under a competitive marketing system, farmers' produce goes to the shop market shelf at low cost and with high efficiency. Vice Chairman of the Kargil's company, Ranjit Page and others have participated in the event. And meanwhile, Britain's new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has faced the Parliament for the first time after being elected as the Prime Minister.
Reports say heated debates have taken place between the Prime Minister and the opposition.
Mr. Sunak, on the first day itself, upon being appointed as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has made a cabinet revision. Some portfolios of the cabinet ministers remain unchanged while several ministerial appointments have taken place. One of the new change was the appointment of Dominic Raab as the Legal Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister. Previously, he had functioned as Legal Secretary under former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Mr. Jeremy Hunt continues to function as the Finance Minister, while Suchela Bravermore has been reappointed as the Minister of Home Affairs. James Cleverly is the new Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Ben Wallace continued to remain as the Minister of Defence. Ms. Penny Modwan, who entered the competition to be the Prime Minister along with Rishi Sunak and withdrew later on, has been reinstated as the Leader of the House. Gillan Keegan is the Minister of Education and Therese Coffey, State Minister of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. The cabinet of Mr. Rishi Sunak is comprised of 30 members. Mr. Ranil Javardhana, who held the post of State Minister of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs under Prime Minister Liz Truss, has tendered his resignation yesterday, paving the way for new appointments in the cabinet. Parliament report says Mr. Ranil Javardhana, with a Sri Lankan origin, has not been re-included in the cabinet of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. British Parliament agenda of today was the session to answer questions from the Prime Minister. Accordingly, the new Prime Minister has directly faced the queries of the opposition members. The new Prime Minister has arrived in the chamber amidst cries of joy of government parliamentarians. However, Labour Party leader Keir Starmer has attempted to put pressure on Prime Minister in the query session. He has accused the Prime Minister of lacking a people's mandate and called for a general election.
So why doesn't he put it to the test, let working people have their say and call a general election?
However, Prime Minister Sunak has directly faced the charge, saying that Labour leader staying only in North London and talking of people's problems. He has requested the party leader to travel throughout the country and get a proper understanding on the situation.
Perhaps he could explain to us why it was a few years ago he was supporting the member for Islington North. Leadership is not selling fairy tales. It is confronting challenges, and that is the leadership the British people will get from this government.
The President and the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka have sent messages of congratulations to the new Prime Minister of Great Britain, Rishi Sunak, on his appointment as the 57th Prime Minister of the country. The President in his message has stated that Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom have a long-standing relationship throughout the history and hope that these bondages would be further strengthened during the tenure of the new Prime Minister. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, placing a note in his Twitter account, says that he is hoping to act in close collaboration with the new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to further enhance the bilateral friendly relations between Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom.
Well, we'll be back with more local stories after a short break.
Prima Kottumi Hot and Spicy Cricket KTM இடைவெளி சஷி பேக்கெட் இலக்கம் 2343 SMS செய்யுங்கள். தினம் தோறும் 2,50,000 ரூபாய் பண பரிசுகள் மேலும் பெறுமதியான பரிசுகள் நவம்பர் 30 வரை மட்டுமே.
Prima Kottumi Fun Tamai.
நாடு விட்டு நாடு சென்று நாளும் முளைத்த பணத்தை வீட்டுக்கு அனுப்பும் போது பரிசு குவியல்கள் ஒவ்வொரு நாளுமே 10,000 ரூபாவாம் பெருமதி மிக்கதாய் வாராந்தம் தங்கமாம் மாதாந்தம் மில்லியனை வெல்லலாமே போட்டியில் கோடிகளை அள்ளலாமே.
நீங்கள் வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து அனுப்பும் பணத்தினை மக்கள் வங்கிக்கு அனுப்பினால் பரிசு குவியல்கள் பீப்பிள்ஸ் ரெமிட்டன்ஸ் கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம் அனுப்புங்கள் வெல்லுங்கள்.
Welcome back, and we move on with more local stories. Kumara Thirimadura and Sarath Kotalavala were two actors who have been felicitated with awards for their roles at the newspaper film.
A ceremony to appreciate the two artists was conducted at the Kasbah Town Hall yesterday. The skills of the two actors were highly acclaimed at the recent Kazan Cinema Festival in Russia. The local felicitation ceremony has been organized by the Caspian Arts Organization, which comprised of artists in Kasbah area. The guest of honor of the occasion was veteran film actors Dr. Ravindra Randenia and Malina Fonseca. A special award has been awarded to Kumar Thirimadura and Sarath Kotalavala on this occasion. A large group of artists have also attended the event, which was conducted with the participation of Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena.
A multifaceted international cultural festival with the participation of 15 countries, including Sri Lanka, was conducted in Chungwon in South Korea recently. The event has been organized for the 17th occasion with the participation of countries including South Korea, China, Japan and the Philippines, Vietnam and Pakistan. It has been conducted by the Kyosanam Do Provincial Council. Sri Lanka's participation in the festival is made possible due to the intervention of Advisory Officer of the Provincial Council, Daminda Pradeep. Singing duo Bhatia Santosh and female vocalist Umaria have turned the Sri Lankan participation a colourful addition. A special draw has been carried out for the issuance of air tickets free of charge for the spectators. Winning tickets were handed over by the acting Sri Lankan ambassador in South Korea, Savitri Panabukka, and manager of the South Korean branch of the Sri Lankan Airlines, Dilipa Vijay Surya.
And meanwhile, a decision has been taken on daily meetings on the committee inquiring into daily medicinal drug stocks. The decision has been taken at a discussion presided over by Minister Dr. K.L. Rambukwella at the Health Ministry yesterday. Officials of the Department of State Pharmaceuticals Manufacturing Corporation, the Medical Supplies Division and National Pharmaceuticals Regulatory Authority and several other institutions. It has also been decided to obtain a daily report on the stocks of drugs at the Medical Supplies Division and also at health institutions including hospitals. An agreement has also been reached to conduct further discussions in this regard. In these upcoming weeks, the committee is scheduled to meet on a daily basis under the leadership of the Minister of Health. The meetings would focus attention on any shortages in drugs and medical equipment and taking measures to rectify the shortcomings. More attention is to be directed on the Indian Credit Line, the Asian Investment Bank and other sectors in way of purchasing drugs. The Minister has stressed that the health staff should dedicate themselves in their duties more than in earlier occasions. The Health Minister has also advised to him hand over a separate report on the position of life-saving and essential as well as non-essential drugs. The Minister has also informed the relevant officials to finalize programs for rendering medicines and always taking into account of the upcoming two quarters.
Attorney at law Nuwan Bopage says that convener of the Inter-University Student Federation Vasanta Mudalege and Venerable Galivava Siridamathera have been discreetly brought to the Colombo Terrorist Investigation Unit without informing the magistrate. Attorney at law Nuwan Bopage has arrived at the Tangal Magistrates Court to the present facts before the judiciary regarding the two detainees. He said that both detainees are indisposed seriously, and he requested the courts to inquire in this regard from the director of the Terrorist Investigation Unit.
And meanwhile, residents request authorities to remove the refuse including timber blocking and Avik Tower Bridge in Alpetia. The resident says that blocking have created floods. They further says that the repeated requests from the authorities to rectify the issue have fallen on deaf ears. Stay tuned for international news after this break.
Venus Fumanyankin Dakina NB Luxury Designer Wear.
ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் இந்த மண்ணில் போராடிய என் அப்பாவுக்கு என்ன ஒரு என்ஜினியர் ஆக்குற அளவுக்கு வசதி இருக்கல. ஆனா நான் என்ஜினியர் ஆகிறத பார்க்க அப்பா ஆசைப்பட்டார். அப்பாவோட அந்த ஆசை நிராசையாகாம போகாததுக்கு காரணம் மகாபுல புலமை பரிசில் வரமா வந்ததுதான். வானலாவ உயர கட்டடங்களை கட்ட என்ற அறிவு வழங்குறேன். ஆனா மகாபுல இல்லாம போயிருந்தா நான் இன்றைக்கு எங்க?
மகாபுல புலமை பரிசுகளை வழங்க சக்தியாக திகழ்ந்தது நீங்கள் செலவிட்ட ₹20 என்பதை அறிவீர்களா?
Welcome back. We move on to news overseas now. Climate change is severely impacting people's health around the world, a report by a leading medical publication has found.
The Lancet Countdown report says that the world's continued reliance on fossil fuels increase the risk of food insecurity, infectious diseases and heart-related illnesses. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres responded that global leaders must watch action to rise the problem. Leaders will meet for the major climate conference on COP27 in Egypt next month. The reports included the work of 99 experts from organizations including the World Health Organization and led by the University College London. It describes how extreme weather has increased pressure on health services globally, already grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic. Heat-related deaths globally have increased by 2/3 over the last 2 decades.
இப்படி வந்திட இப்படி அல்பங்கள்
Prima Katumi Fantamai.
Welcome back, and we now move on to sports news, and this time over it's about cricket. And Australia secured a 7-wicket victory against Sri Lanka at the T20 matches played at Perth yesterday.
Sri Lanka has scored 157 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. Padom Nishanka 40, Charita Salanka 38. In reply, Australia team has reached the 158-run victory target with 16 overs and 3 deliveries with 7 wickets in hand. Marcus Stoinis had scored 59 runs, recording the quickest half-century in a T20 match. Sri Lanka will compete in the third match in the Super 12 round against New Zealand next Saturday.
Stoinis going to get catch, it's the call, settles to...
Three additional players, Niroshan Dikwella, Asisa Fernando and Matisha Pathiruna, are scheduled to leave for Australia tonight to replace injured players. The Sri Lankan cricket says that they will be included in the national reserve only in case of necessity. Sri Lanka fast bowler Binura Fernando was delivered for the chance of competing in the World Cup after being injured in Australia yesterday. Ireland beat England by 5 runs in a T20 World Cup match in Melbourne, Australia today. Due to this victory, Sri Lanka has come up to the second place in the points table. Ireland was all out for 157. England bowlers Mark Wood and Liam Livingstone took 3 wickets each. England were at 105 for 5 wickets when their play was stopped due to rain, and Ireland became victorious according to the Duckworth-Lewis method.
High it goes, and this should be out. Has been hit hard. Deep mid-wicket, third time lucky. It is third time lucky. Short ball. It was there to be punished.
The match between Afghanistan and New Zealand was abandoned due to bad weather. Accordingly, the match two referees have decided to add 1 point each to both teams.
And therefore this is a famous victory for Ireland.
Well, from cricket to football, Director General of Sports has given a pledge to the Court of Appeal to take measures to convene a special general session of the Sri Lanka Football Federation within 14 days.
This assurance has been delivered with a writ petition filed by the former President and Secretary of the Federation requesting to annul the decision taken by the Minister of Sports to repeal a Gazette notification extending the official term of the Sri Lankan Football Federation. The Director General of Sports had also given another pledge before the Supreme Court on the 20th of this month to conduct the election of office bearers of the Federation within 9 days.
இப்படி வென்றிட இப்படி அல்பங்கள்
Prima Katumi Fantamai.
Well, that's it on the news tonight. Together with Charita, I'm Sharifa, wishing you a very pleasant night.